Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry episode 2. I believe we are done with the bit of a prologue that we've had here for this episode, where we were kind of looking into the, I guess, romance, the love, the lives of Shannon, Kanon, and Jessica. And I guess a little bit of George in there because, well, Shannon obviously likes George. But we got to see a different side of it that wasn't necessarily present to us in episode 1. A whole new idea of, I guess you need to be able to see something. People can't see a specific thing. And I have no idea what the hell that means. As per usual, the questions keep on growing, as is tradition here with this series and similar to Higurashi. So we are now approaching the big family conference, just like in episode 1, I believe. I have no idea what is going to go down this time around if that is the case, but I am excited to see how we can begin to maybe piece things together, or we're going to see things unravel in a crazier way than before. Either way, let's jump back in. They had eaten breakfast at a coffee shop in the station building. By chance, the inside of the shop had been decorated with Halloween colors since it was October. Maria had seemed to be awfully pleased with that. For quite some time, she talked loudly inside the train about wanting to have a Halloween festival, without caring that she was attracting the attention of others. Halloween is popular in Europe and America, but people aren't that familiar with it in Japan. Don't they kind of just jump on board with the idea of it, just for the festivities? The shopping district was colorfully decorated with orange pumpkins, but the costume parades of children demanding sweets and saying trick or treat were nowhere in sight. Oh, here we go. How I've missed Maria. Well, that's not surprising either, but damn, I was thinking, it was a peaceful few videos that we've recorded so far for episode 2.
親族会議は遊びじゃないのよ。おじいさまにお会いするんだから、ちゃんとしたお洋服じゃないとダメ。
Plus, it's still weeks away from Halloween. While it wasn't completely full inside the train, it was really packed with almost all the seats occupied by passengers. Maria was making a fuss among them, stomping her feet on the seat while Rosa scowled at her. Ah, children. Children whenever you're traveling. Lovely, isn't it? Rosa had warned her many times, to lower her voice, but Maria hadn't obeyed her at all. Once Maria got like this, no matter how much you tried to explain the situation or calm her, she wouldn't listen. As Maria does. Before, Rosa used to pamper Maria and give in to her at times like this. But that had probably been a mistake. Surely Maria had gained the mistaken impression that throwing a tantrum long enough would make her mother give up and do what Maria said. That is bad. That is negative. I don't want to say that's toxic necessarily, but that is definitely a very poor way to go about it. Rosa had realized that error with the help of an educational book, and since then she'd hardened the part of her heart that wanted to pamper her beloved daughter. Her mutual understanding with Maria began to grow weaker and weaker, and she began to get discouraged by her own powerlessness more and more often. Halloween! Yes. No.
あなたにあげるお菓子はありません。さっき朝ごはんを食べたでしょ。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃう。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃう。
Guys, I'm actually more willing, more so than ever, to return to the romantic lives of the other characters if we get to avoid this. I mean that shit. It may seem like I'm joking, but no, the shit sucks already. A stout old woman who was sitting nearby as Maria stomped her feet picked a candy out of her handbag and held it out to Maria.
Kora, Maria. 勝手に人からお菓子をもらっちゃダメでしょ。返しなさい。いいんですよ。
Yeah, honestly, it was just a kind little gesture to try and shut her up.
元気なお嬢さんですこと。
That's one way of putting it.
おいくつです
Maybe there was no malice in the old woman's words. However, Rosa seemed to find that remark extremely humiliating.
マリア、知らない人からお菓子をもらっちゃいけないっていつも言ってるでしょ。おお、これはマリアがもらったの。
My ears bleed.
やだ、マリアの。
And the headache grows. Nazi, I understand now.
ママの言うことを聞けっていつも言ってるでしょ。マリアの。
Uh-oh.
その言うのをやめなさいって
Yeah. Saw that one coming. Oh man, it's so loud to me. Rosa reflexively hit Maria violently on her cheek. In a flash, Maria started crying loudly. Rosa immediately took the candy from Maria's hand and pushed it back towards the dumbfounded old woman sitting next to them. Yeah, you know, first impression of Rosa was like so bright, like she was different than the others potentially because, you know, she is now a single mother. She's, you know, doing the job herself where everybody has their respective partner. She's the fourth sibling, the last one to be born from old Kinzo here. And, nope. Fuck all of that. Terrible first impression. Terrible, honestly. She is the polar opposite of what I thought she would be like. I thought she would have been the sane one, but no, she... Oh. See, I don't even know how to properly describe it. Breathing heavily, Rosa once again held the candy out to the old woman. After getting flustered about what she should say for a few moments, perhaps the old woman realized that her actions may have troubled this parent and child, and she accepted the candy back, apologizing. Damn, she had like a little transformation there, and then disappeared. After that, Rosa finally took notice of her surroundings. Her daughter's clothes were all messed up. She was crying and shouting with her nose dripping. And there were many dumbfounded passengers watching them. Except for the sound of the train running, the interior was completely silent. Well, yeah, I mean, this, you know, day and age, there's no way to block out the world. Back then, you could put headphones on, or you couldn't put headphones on. You couldn't put the earbuds in. Nowadays, you can. So, you're kind of forced. I guess you could have put, like, earplugs in if you really wanted to, but no. I mean, a scene like this, especially when you're traveling, it's, I don't know if it was necessarily common, but kids are going to be kids. They're going to be annoying. Fortunately, that pitiful silence didn't last more than a short while. However, it was followed by an even more painful atmosphere as everyone began to whisper. Oh yeah, people are going to talk. 100%. Maria shouted, cried, kicked, and stomped her feet as usual, paying no heed to the people sitting around her. Impulsively, Rosa tried to slap her again, but she noticed the cold eyes of the people in the train and couldn't. Yeah, finding out that she was not necessarily abusive. I know we kind of talked about this in episode 1, but I know Rosa isn't necessarily abusive, but, you know, striking your child is also not a good direction to go. I mean, it might be short-term effective. It might shut them up, but yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky situation, but Maria is also a very tricky child to deal with, as we've seen. When the train stopped, Rosa forcibly pulled Maria's arm and got off, almost dragging her daughter along. Maria didn't stop crying. Oh, fuck, here we go. Rosa took her to the end of the platform and hit her cheek again. At the moment she was hit, Maria stopped crying for an instant, but before long she shouted and cried even more than before. Overwhelmed with emotion, Rosa grabbed the nape of Maria's neck and dragged her, tugging at her hair. Oh, we've heard this song and dance before. Yeah, this seems very wholesome. With those severe words, Rosa hit Maria's cheek over and over again. The more Maria cried and shouted, the more Rosa hit her. And the more Maria was hit, the more intensely she cried and shouted. Ah, that's painful. That is so fucking painful.
そのうーをどうしてやめられないの？あんたがそんなんだから友達ができないのよ。あんたがそんなんだからパパの出張が終わらないのよ。
Is that what she's saying?
あんたがそんなんだから。
お客さんいかがされましたか?
Yeah, they are still in a public environment here.
何かご用ですか?
The one who timidly called to her was the station attendant. Rosa glared at the attendant with a look that said, "Don't butt into the problems of a mother and child, stranger." Of course, the attendant surely hadn't wanted to get involved either. However, Rosa had been yelling on the platform for a much longer time than she had imagined. Her emotional scolding had led the passengers on the platform to advise the attendant to call out to her. Rosa yelled at the attendant. God damn, she looks fucking angry, goddamn, saying not to worry anyone since they'd be getting on the next train. And then finally, or rather for the second time, she noticed the passengers on the platform staring at her from a distance. Well, yeah, it's a whole fucking scene. Rosa sweat slightly and felt a breeze make her sweat go cold, tormenting her. That read a little weird, but Maria still kept on crying, shielding her own head. Of course, if this beating continued, she'd probably keep crying indefinitely. I mean, I don't want to give an excuse here, but, you know, the stress, you know, everything going on in your life, it can make you, you know, go a little, I guess, oblivious to the world around you, do stupid things that you will immediately regret, if not immediately, then eventually. And this could be a case of it. Being a single mother, I'm sure, or a single parent in general, is definitely not easy, especially when your child is not cooperative. Again, not trying to give her an excuse what she's doing is wrong, but I mean, there's a reason for everything. As the terrible heat in Rosa's head faded, she knew that she had surrendered her soul to evil again. Yeah, that's a little bit of an understatement. Rosa fell to her knees and hugged Maria, whose face was all soggy with tears and mucus. And again, we have seen this pretty much like, not perfectly, but very similarly to what happened in episode 1. That was a big surprise to me personally, but here it is again. You know, just Rosa kind of just falls, I guess, to evil, if you will. She goes to a state that she can't fully grasp. She has no sense of self, and she does things that she regrets here. Striking her own child because she's not cooperative. Finally, Maria realized that her mother was her mother again. She clung to her mother's body and cried, burying her face in her mother's chest. The bad witch, huh? I wonder if that's something that Rosa specifically told her child here, just as an excuse to get away with what she did, just to quickly move on. Because obviously you can't explain like the impacts of stress and mental weakness to a child. They're not going to grasp that. For a long time, the two of them hugged each other, asking for and sharing words of forgiveness. After a while, they calmed down and both moved back at the same time. Maria's face and Rosa's face were both deep red after crying their eyes out.
ジョージお兄ちゃんやジェシカお姉ちゃんにかぼちゃマシュマロ見せてあげたかった。
It was a candy they'd been selling near the cash register at the shop where they'd eaten breakfast. A fancy sweet that had a big orange marshmallow in the shape of a jack-o'-lantern attached to the tip of a stick. Maria had wanted it and had insistently pestered Rosa for it. Rosa had refused, saying that there was no way she could buy sweets right after breakfast. She should have just done it. I mean, again, not to feed into all the wants that Maria has, but it would have avoided some problems here over something so little.
降りて探してみようか。お、ママ大好き、愛してる。ありがとう。私もよ、マリア。
This hurts. The truth was that they didn't have time to waste loitering around at a stopover station. If they missed the airplane, they'd fall half a day behind schedule. She should have left home with more time to spare, but she had ended up leaving late after choosing Maria's clothes. Because of that, Rosa had been a bit impatient since the morning, so there's more going on. Everything's kind of just adding up and Maria wasn't helping. Again, not giving Rosa the excuse, I'm just saying there's a reason for everything. She looked at the clock. They had to get on the next train immediately, but her daughter firmly joined hands with her to go buy the sweet with her mother, and that hand was warm. To Rosa as she was now, it was more important to renew her bonds with Maria, to destroy them later that night. To her, Maria was not only a beloved daughter, she was everything Rosa had. This is a nice looking city. Fortunately, they could see a big supermarket right in front of the station. They might not be able to find exactly the same sweet, but Maria would probably be happy with a similar one. Besides, Rosa couldn't show up with a face swelled from crying. She must fix her makeup.
あれと全く同じマシュマロは見つからないかもしれないけど、似たようなお菓子があるといいね。それで、いとこのみんなを一緒に驚かそうね。うん、ママと一緒に買うお菓子なら何でもいい。
They exited through the turnstiles of the station in this unknown town. Maria walked across the pedestrian crossing together with her mother, chuckling to herself as though she was walking in an amusement park. Both faces were still deep red, but the two of them, mother and child, smiled warmly at each other without any restraint. I have a bad feeling that things are not going to last that long here with this. I mean, obviously later in the night things will crumble apart again, but no, nothing lasts like that. All right, where are we at now?
あなた。
Oh.
こんなところでどうされたのですか？
君か。なんでもない。考え事をするのにここが少し心地よかっただけだ。
Yes, just standing in the hallway next to a big ass window.
今日の準備はすべて手配が終わっています。あとはお茶でも飲みながらくつろいで待とうではありませんか。
すまん。君にいつも面倒なことをすべて押し付けている。
どうか私をもっと頼ってはいただけませんか。私はあなたの妻です。
She is?
無論君にはいつも助けられているし、欲深な兄弟たちの腐肉のあさり合いに過ぎん。
Well, at least, I mean, we knew that he was expecting it, but, I mean, they still kind of called them out for it. Or at least Natsuhi did.
あなたのお仕事がうまくいかなかったことはありません。
Natsuhi softly cuddled close to Krause's shoulder. She complimented Krause on his hard work, but Natsuhi knew better than anyone that his work wasn't going well. Yeah, even we know. Krause's project was something like a seesaw where a large amount of money swings. Big investments can lead to massive payoffs. But like large seesaws, they tend to shake a lot while moving very slowly, instead of showing immediate results. At times, it's possible to make further investments so that the seesaw inclines faster towards the side you want. Of course, you'd only do that if you were confident you'd be able to recover all your investments in the not-so-distant future. However, the seesaws Krause chose never turned out as he would have liked them to. His foresight wasn't wrong, but the times were moving sluggishly. They never managed to catch up with him. For example, think of a literal seesaw placed in a park. It's a really popular item, so there's always someone playing on it, and you've got to wait a long time for your turn. Let's say that one day you spotted one of those seesaws that was completely unused, and you raced to grab it first and have it all to yourself. However, unless someone got on the opposite side of the seesaw, you wouldn't be able to play on it. It's a two-player game after all. What if lots of time passed and nobody came to the opposite end? Seesaws are popular, so if you wait long enough, a companion will surely show up. But Kraus noticed something. The weather's getting worse, so nobody's coming outside to play. But seesaws are popular, so someone will surely come eventually. If he vacated his place because of the worsening weather, it would certainly be snatched away. And once again, he'd end up longingly gazing from a distance at someone else having fun on the seesaw. On one side of the seesaw, he continued to wait patiently all alone. That was Kraus's project and his current situation. That's actually very unhealthy. Like, that's really bad if, like, obviously you start a project like this. In the business world, it's all about making money. If you're going to own something, if you're going to spearhead something in that business, then, or to create a business, it's all about making money. Because you're throwing money in, you're expecting a greater return. But if you're going to start these projects and then, cancel them because you didn't like them or you didn't think they'd work out, then why'd you start them, It's like, hold on, you're getting ahead of yourself here. That's actually really bad. This is actually a very interesting side of Kraus. Natsuhi was the only one who knew. Only she knew of Kraus's anguish. As the eldest son of the Ushiromiya family, who would soon be forced to bear an immense responsibility, he couldn't open his pained heart to anyone, and was always getting compared to his father's great enterprises. I guess that is a good point. I mean, yeah, he feels pressured that he actually has to jump onto some projects. Maybe that's why he's doing the ones he doesn't feel most confident about. And he loses money for it. That's the only thing I can think about there. Yeah, I'm sure that'll all work out. I'm sure that Kinzo will join the meeting and everything. Ha ha ha. Hello, Goda. In the kitchen, multicolored ingredients were gathered and the preliminary arrangements were promptly being started. Even though it was still morning, the ingredients for dinner were already in saucepans and steaming. Normally, he had to deal with several assorted matters, but on the day of the family conference, he could devote himself entirely to cooking. To Goda, who was originally a chef, this was surely the greatest gala occasion of the whole year. It was rare for Goda to be in this good of a mood towards his fellow servants. Goda bragged about being the Ushiromiya family's personal chef, and knowing he was considered worthy to display his excellent cooking at the family conference was his greatest honor. Why did you have to say it like that? That was weird. You have to say, "Leave it to me, Goda." Genji placed the telephone back in the receiver, sighing lightly. Genji sighed once again, thinking of Kumasawa, who was probably hiding again even though things were this busy. And I have no idea how to pronounce that, ostentatious? Oh wow, that is not how you fucking pronounce that. I have no idea even what that word means. Sorry, gang. My English skills, subpar. Anyways, Goda, who only felt like doing anything on a day where he could show off. Oh, hello, gamers.
お子様方が泊まれるよう4人分の用意をするようにとのご指示を賜りましたが。
今年は6年ぶりにバトラ様がお見えになるそうだ。
He will.
お嬢様もいとこ4人で夜更かしをされたいのだろう。準備するように奥様にはお伝えしなくてよい。
そうですね。かしこまりました。
今夜は深夜勤で、そのまま明日は早朝勤か。しんどい2日間になりそうだな。
Oh, they will be tiresome for reasons that are beyond your comprehension currently.
そういえば、台風が直撃するって天気予報で言っていますね。大丈夫でしょうか。
台風がよほどそれない限り、場合によっては親族の皆様方のお帰りの船に響くだろう。
Yeah, it'll delay it a day.
親族会議の日程が月曜か火曜あたりまで長引くかもしれない。長丁場になるだろうが、皆くれぐれも粗相のないように頼む。シャノンは焦らぬよう落ち着いて、カノンは愛想よくご挨拶をするように。
Damn, Genji is so fucking good.
はい。
Like, he completely understands his coworkers.
注意します。
注意します。
大切なお
He's
客
looking
様
out for
が
them.
お越しになられる日だ。くれぐれも粗相がないように。
心得ています。いつだって。ここには大切なお客様しか訪れ。
カノン、今日は本当の意味で大切なお客様を迎える。
Ah, no. I get you. I get you.
心構えを改めるように。
はい。
シャノン、どうした？さっきから何かそわそわしているようだが、何か時間の約束でもあるのか？
Oh, she's just looking forward to the day, that's all. She's just really looking forward to it, that's all.
いえ、なんでもありません。失礼いたしました。
姉さん、今日は大切なお客様がお越しになる日なんだよ。プライベートとは切り離すようにね。
プライベートなんか知りません。
Yeah, haha, definitely don't know what you're talking about. As Shanun blushed just a bit, she turned her gaze away from the clock. Was it about time for the airplane carrying the family to arrive at Nishima? She tried to hide the fact that her upcoming, long-awaited reunion with George was making her heart race, but Kanun, who'd stood beside her, she seemed to see right through her. I mean, we all see it here. Shit, even Genji probably knows what's going on. That man is pretty damn bright. He's a really cool guy. I like Genji. Now, here we go. Ah, just like in the beginning of episode 1.
シャノン、これを黙って受け取ってくれ。
Never mind, this is getting weird. Inside a bathroom stall, George was practicing something over and over, taking out a small velvet box hidden in his pocket like a quick-draw dessert gunman.
違うな。
I say dessert? Desert. Jesus Christ.
シャノンは牽引力のある男性が好きなんだ。もっと馬力がある感じじゃないとダメだ。シャノン、これを薬指につけるんだ。命令だよ。
Oh my god, George, please, you're embarrassing me.
ああ、左手とちゃんと言わないと右手にされちゃうかもしれない。いや、シャノンもそこまでかまととじゃないけど、ああ、でも少しは自由意志がないとなんだかその、I
feel bad for anybody else in the restroom. As he crossed his arms, muttering, someone knocked on the door. George was snapped back to reality.
Oh, George 君。
Hello, Rudolph. It's been a fucking while, actually.
大丈夫か？腹の調子でも悪いのか？
ルドルフおじさん、大丈夫です。平気です。ご心配は無用です。
そっか、ならいいんだけどな。無理して力みすぎるなよ。尻が切れちまうぜ。
Wait, what? Rudolph washed his hands, laughing cheerfully as he left. George, realizing that the most embarrassing part hadn't been overheard, relaxed and felt extremely relieved.
キリエ、ローザはまだ来ないのか？
まだよ。遅いわね。
天候調整中だからいいようなものを。これで普段通りのダイヤだったらあいつ。そしたらどうする気なんだあいつ。
Buying candy.
ローザさんだっていい年の大人よ。
なんとかするわ。兄って人はいくつになっても妹を子供扱いなのね。
親父だっていくつになっても子供だけどな。
だと俺が子供ならおめえは赤ん坊じゃねえか。ほれほれバトラちゃん、高い高い。
やめろ、くすぐって。
What a weird dynamic.
親子ってより悪ガキ仲間って感じね。
Yeah, because now we know that we know about Battler, that he went off on his own for many years and he's come back, and this is kind of how they, treat each other. It's weird. Like, I don't know if that's their cover up for like the awkwardness that might show up. They obviously still care for one another.
ほら、いらしたわよ。
おおお、ローザさんやないか。マリアちゃん、久しぶりやの。
久しぶり。マリア、お久しぶりです。でしょ？言ってごらん。
お久しぶりです。
そうや、よく言えたな。ご褒美に飴玉あげような。
Oh, she would love that.
あれ、どこにしまったんや。
ローザさん、お久しぶりです。マリアちゃんもお久しぶり。
ご無沙汰してます、キリエ姉さん、秀吉兄さんと。あら、バトラ君？
Yeah, you have to strain your neck just looking up to see him.
大きくなったわね。
いやー今日は会うたびに言われてて恥ずかしいっすよ。
Get used to it, buddy.
おうローザ、遅かったな。飛行機がダイヤ通りだったらギリギリってとこだったぜ。
ごめんなさい、列車の接続がうまくいかなくて。何？また天候調査中なの？
Yeah, the trouble making our train connection part. We understand that now.
ぼやかないぼやかない。
Ugh.
船で6時間も揺られるくらいなら飛行機でほんの30分の方がずっとマシよ。たとえ1時間余計に待たされたって全然早いんだから。
あれがマリアなのか。大きくなったな。成長期か。
前に会ったのは6年前？それは変わるわよ。女は心変わりがあればたった1日でも生まれ変わる生き物よ。
Nah, there's no way. Maria, noticing a big man she didn't recognize mixed in among the relatives, hid behind Rosa's back and glared at Battler.
おいバトラ、挨拶しろい。前にやったのが3歳の時じゃ。初対面も同じだぞ。
3歳じゃ覚えてねえよな。よ、マリア、久しぶり。大きくなったな。
マリア、バトラお兄ちゃんよ。ルドルフおじさんの息子さん。わかる？
おじさんの息子さん。
Oh, don't worry, Maria. I was confused just like you were.
息子さん。
It was confusing in the beginning for like no fucking reason. She was obviously on her guard. After all, it was hardly surprising that she'd be scared of a large guy like Battler suddenly, started speaking frankly to her. Battler noticed that as well and thought of various ways he might approach her. Then he spotted the candy she had in her hand. It was the jack-o'-lantern sweet that Rosa had bought for her. So they found something.
10月だからハロウィンか。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
Oh, perfect. You're literally on the same fucking page as her. Normally, trying to snatch a sweet away from a small child will result in them crying and screaming. The adults seemed dubious about Battler's tactics, but Maria looked unexpectedly pleased, her face splitting into a wide grin.
ハロウィン。ほらママ、バトラもハロウィン知ってる。
こーら、バトラお兄ちゃんと呼びなさい。ごめんね、バトラ君。
いやいや、気にしないっすよ。俺はバトラと呼んでくれ。
Yeah, he doesn't care for all this honorifics and formality stuff, you know?
マリアって呼ぶからな。ほらマリア、ハロウィンだぞ。お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
お菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞ。
From inside her purse, Maria picked out a jack-o'-lantern sweet similar to the one she had in her hand and presented it to Battler. When Battler accepted it, that seemed to be enough to confirm their friendship. This is different from what we saw in episode 1, I believe, but, the idea is the same. The adults were amazed at how good children can be at getting along with each other. Maria had been throwing a tantrum because she wanted a Halloween festival. So Battler, who knew about trick-or-treating, must have felt like an ally. Her defensive posture from before was completely gone. Now she was all cheery, as though they had been friends for decades.
そうだな。日本じゃハロウィンってマイナーなイベントだよな。仮装行列で練り歩くなんて向こうのニュースではよく見るけど、日本じゃ見たことないぜ。
マリアも仮装したかった。仮装していとこみんなでお菓子をくれなきゃいたずらしちゃうぞってやりたかった。
Isn't that like very similar to other like, you know, holidays and such that are celebrated over here in the West, but not necessarily so over, you know, elsewhere? Like they kind of participate, but more so in the festivities, not necessarily in the celebration of what the holiday is. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm sure there are people that celebrate Christmas over in Japan and in many other countries, but that's more related to a religion, obviously. So I do think a lot of it is in terms of festivities elsewhere. And, well, for me, I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in religion. So, yeah, it's for me, it is just the festivities. So probably with other holidays, you know, kind of similar, kind of depends, sort of also depends where you're at, you know, who your family is, what you believe, so and so on.
そっかそっか。今度俺と一緒にやろうな。マリアだったら何の仮装をして練り歩きたい？
A witch.
魔女ベアトリーチェ。
Yeah. Not all that surprising, ain't it? A little bit different, I think, here, but the idea is the same. And I like how we're getting different perspectives here, too. This is going to be a very interesting episode.
おや、お嬢様、こんなところに。奥様が探しておいででしたよ。
探されたくねえからこんなところにいるんだぜ。どうせ、みなりは大丈夫かとか、言葉遣いをちゃんとするようにとか。
Yeah.
小言が言いたいだけに違いないぜ。
You are on the right page.
今までずっと姿を現さなかった親族がひょっこりと現れるんじゃないかって。
Honestly,
いつも思ってるんだよ。
you know, coincidence aside, that is a really interesting way of thinking about it.
ほほう、そんな親族がおりますでしょうか。
Uh-huh.
ベアトリーチェ様だよ。
黄金を与えた魔女本人がそろそろおいでになってもおかしくありませんね。
She'll always be a subject of discussion here for sure.
熊沢さんはさ、辞めたり勤めたりと忙しいけど、現実さん並みに昔からここに出入りしてるわけでしょ。ベアトリーチェのこともっと知ってるんじゃないの？
I wonder, two of the servants have actually met with Beatrice as we saw here in this episode. What about the others? Genji, I think he's just been saying that he fully believes in Beatrice and all that, going along with everything out of respect for Kinzo. I think that was kind of revealed that he didn't fully believe, or believe at all, at the end of episode 1.
さて
I mean, Kumasawa's been around for a long time, you know? Maybe she's had her fair share of conversations with the witch, I don't know.
思い出そうにもこの老いぼれ。今朝の朝食すらも
Oh,
思い出せませんので。
she's playing dumb. Come on
熊沢さ
now.
んはいっつもそういう言い方で逃げるけど、何か知ってそうなんだよな。知ってて物陰で笑ってるみたいな陰湿な雰囲気が時々するぜ。
これは手厳しい。隠し事など何もしておりません。
Hey, I doubt it.
私から申し上げられることは、ベアトリーチェ様は黄金の魔女であられて、この島の夜を支配されているもう一人の主人であられるということだけでございます。
じい様の受け売りかよ。給料もらってるとはいえ、じい様の妄言に付き合うのも大変だな。
Man, shit, I'd do it, especially if it got me closer to the witch.
ただ、これだけは申し上げられます。
何？
六軒島は太古の昔、小豆島と呼ばれて恐れられてきました。
Thank you, game, for the translation, I think.
小豆は悪時期がなまったものと言われ、本当は悪時期島と呼ばれていたのだと。
前にも聞いたよ。この辺は暗礁が多くて海難事故が多かったから 領民たちが恐れてむやみに近づかなかったって話だろ。
I mean, this kind of connects with why there was that shrine there.
悪食島には悪霊が住み着いていて、太古の昔から人々の魂を喰らい続けてきました。
Yeah, you know, Eastern-based evil spirits and such were here.
この島に関わ
So
り、
that shrine was set up
命を奪われた人間は
with
あま
that
りにも
mirror
多い
to
のです。
prevent, you know, further issues, but it also encapsulated a bit of...
それを旅の修験者
Yeah,
だ
here
か
we
なんだ
go.
かが例の社を
It
作っ
kind of
て
took in
鎮
a
魂
bit
した
of
んで
Beatrice's
収まっ
power
た
too.
ってんじゃなかったっけ。まあもともとオンボロだったしな。
Haha, yeah, totally.
ちょっと高い波にでも
Yep,
さらわ
that's
れ
all
た
that
んじゃねえの
happened.
かな。
Yeah, nothing else.
眠りから目覚めた悪食島の悪霊がベアトリーチェ様を呼び寄せたのです。もしベアトリーチェ様が親族会議に訪れられるようなことがあったなら。
Oh, that wouldn't happen. Come on now, Kumasawa.
あったなら
Kumasawa fell silent for a moment. Jessica was pressing her to keep going, but that gap felt strange and eerie. When Kumasawa noticed that she had Jessica plenty scared with her silence, she grinned broadly. This woman.
はてさて、どんなことになるやら。
Oh, that laugh. Oh man, I need to find me a woman that can laugh like that. I am set for life if I can find someone like that. Who's with me?
へえ、そいつは素敵じゃないかよ。
でしょ。たまには優雅な時間を得て、あなたの心を豊かにするのも、あなたの仕事に役に立つんじゃないかしら。
What's going on here?
だな。心と財布は豊かじゃなきゃいけねえ。わかったよ。その日は開けておくことにする。予約を頼むぜ。
わかったわ。絶対よ。
ああ、よろしく頼む。愛してるぜ。キリエ。
Is this a bit before? After kissing the receiver, Rudolph hung up. What the fuck? Before his seat, there were several executives with their sleeves rolled up, eagerly awaiting the end of that phone call.
すまん。待たせたぜ。アメリカから連絡は来たか。
はい。外線にデイル渡辺弁護士からです。おつなぎします。
結局のところ、感触はどうなんだ。
Wait, can we talk about that name actually? That stuck out to me. Dale Watanabe. So he has an English name but a Japanese last name?
それが一つ芳しくないようでして。先方は裁判をも辞さないつもりのようです。
Or was it swapped? You know?
やっぱりごまかしきれねえかな。
I can never follow because obviously this the names here for the dialogue box is last name, first name, but in the dialogue itself, I don't know if they switch it back.
つないでくれ。
わかりました。
I'm just constantly confused on a regular basis over shit that's not really important, but the executive ordered that the external line be transferred to the secretarial office. At once, the phone in front of Rudolph rang.
もしもし。ハローハロー。お待たせしました。Ushiromiyaです。どうもどうも。いかがですかそちらは。
Hello, President Ushiromiya.
Oh, here we go. We get the English.
挨拶は抜きで
Oh, never mind. God damn it. I was so looking forward to that.
いいニュースと悪いニュースがありますが、どちらを先にしますか？
The bad news first.
悪いニュースが先がいいな。
Always start with the bad news so that you can end off a conversation with something good to go off of. Get motivated near the end of the conversation.
デザートがないと頑張れないたちなんだ。
交渉の余地のあるものとして若い金額、大手新聞への謝罪広告掲載、それらの履行期間と見ています。
Okay, so I'm not fully, following along with what's going on here, but obviously this company here is in a shit spot and they're basically trying to do whatever it is they got to do to not lose a shit ton of money or create further damages, whatever happened here.
うちに潰れろと一言言やいいのに、とんでもねえ金が必要になるか。
その覚悟は必要です。
Yep.
そして
That's all tying together with the vendetta or motivation that Rudolph is going to have here going into the meeting.
また進展があったら
He needs money and he needs it fast.
先生は高級鳥だからヨタ話もできねえ。サンキューサンキュー。Goodbye.
Rudolph hung up the phone. The executives sitting in reception seats seemed to have guessed at the contents of that discussion.
聞こえたか野郎ども。銀行はまずいな。連中は勝ち馬にしか金を出さん。景気は上向いてるが、 銀行に弱みは見せられねえ。
Oh, is that how that works?
社長、母外に資金はありますか？我々の把握していない資金です。
よせやい。俺がそういう男に見えるかよ。俺の財布の中身は全てお前らにさらしてるぜ。そこにある帳簿が我が社の全てだ。
As it should. That is, you know, the proper way to go with the accounting.
なら、金策が必要です。数百万ドル単位を引っ張れるスポンサーが大至急必要です。
Honestly, I would opt for the loan direction, but don't know how optimal that is.
こういう関係でなんとかなりませんでしょうか。
I didn't even think that was like a sign of weakness.
社長。
ああ、落ち着けてめえら。金策は俺が何とかする。お前らはガタガタせずに業務を維持しろ。金さえ積めば向こうは許すと言ってるんだ。すでに俺たちはアジアに太いパイプを持ってる。いろいろ響くだろうが取引は維持できる。要は金さえ積めりゃ全て解決できる問題なんだ。
Yep, money solves all.
見てろ、俺が全て解決する。お前らを路頭に迷わせなんかしねえぞ。大船に乗った気でいろい。無事に解決したらお前ら全員をシャンパンタワーでねぎらってやるぜ。約束する。だから黙って俺についてこい。いいな。
Yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily important as to what the fuck his company did to get them in a position where they're going to have to owe money because they will lose whatever, you know, lawsuit they're a part of or whatever. Better to just settle. But it does give us a better idea as to, you know, the motivation that Rudolph is going to have going into this meeting. He needs money, and he needs it now. Very similar to Hideyoshi with his business. Rosa with whatever the fuck she has going on. It's all kind of coming together here. The airplane suddenly shook, probably due to turbulence. Rudolph was jostled awake. He had woken early that morning and ended up drifting off to sleep while resting in his seat.
大丈夫？
No.
まだだいぶ眠いんじゃないの
？6年ぶりに家族が揃ったんだからな。家族水入らずで過ごせるよう課長が頑張らねえとな。
Yeah, he's definitely going to do a whole lot here. When he looked out the window, he saw that the airplane had already started to drop in altitude considerably. The fishing boats, which had only looked like black grains a short while ago, were starting to become clearly recognizable.
親父に土下座して原骨一発で1000万借りられるなら1ダースくらいもらっときてえところなんだがな。
Yeah, honestly, if I can get my ass beat for a shit ton of money, I'd probably do it.
さもなきゃとっととお隠れになってくれりゃいいんだが散々すねをかじって今度は遺産目当てか。俺は地獄行きだな。そりゃこんな俺に親父も会いたくはないだろうよ。
Damn, money really can solve all, can it, gamers? Or it can solve enough of the problems. On to the next
ま
problems.
さか今年も親族会議にお出にならないつもりですかな。
Oh, that is indeed the case. Nanjo looked at Kinzo's face, sighing. Kinzo's eyes remained rooted to a strange book on magic.
ハゲタカどもの議論に加わるつもりはない。好きに我が骨のしゃぶり方でも議論するがよかろう。実にくだらぬ。
やれやれ、困ったものですな。
Nanjo shook his head slightly. To him, children and grandchildren were lovely things. He believed watching them grow was the only way to truly enjoy old age. So Kinzo's words were very saddening to Nanjo.
この部屋を出るべき時が来れば私は姿を現す。あれが姿を未だ現さぬようにな。
The thing is, now we know that she's been trying to show herself to you, but you just can't see her. When Kinzo raised his face, his gaze pointed at the portrait of the witch, which was respectfully displayed on the wall. And I'm going to say this again. I said this multiple times in episode 1, but if that painting ever does anything, like if it changes or gets, scarier at any moment, I am going to freak out. I hate that. That is one of my, I don't know, fears, I guess, in media, is when things that end up changing, very slightly and in a very scary fashion, when they're not supposed to change whatsoever. Luckily, none of that happened in episode 1. I don't think I have anything to worry about going forward, but I'm not letting my guard down. Kinzo's mind didn't dwell for a moment on the fact that today was the family conference, where all of his beloved relatives would gather. It was filled only by the face of the witch in the oil painting, who never smiled except inside the portrait. Everybody knew that interrupting Kinzo when he talked about Beatrice would trigger his wrath. Oh, here we go.
私は今日ある儀式を執り行う。
Do your thing, Kinzo.
それは何ですかな？
儀式というよりは博打に近い。なぜならリスクを負わぬ魔法に奇跡は宿らぬからだ。
Nanjo had heard Kinzo say this many times before. You might even call it a pet phrase of Kinzo's. Kinzo apparently believed that magic and miracles could occur if you gambled your own fate with a certain amount of risk and triumphed.
見たままの通り、いつ迎えが来てもおかしくない年寄りの推挙に終わるだけだ。
Interesting. Interesting way to go with the loss here.
一体どんなギャンブルを始めるやら。あなたの友人としてその賭けに、いや儀式でしたか。
I wouldn't call it either of those things. I would just call it stupid.
あなたが勝てるよう心からお祈りするだけです。
感謝する。
そういえば金蔵さん、今年の親族会議には懐かしい客がおられるそうですな。
何？
For once, Kinzo reacted to Nanjo's words and turned around.
ほら、ルドルフさんのところのバトラ君です。6年ぶりにおいでになるそうじゃありませんか。きっと立派になっていますよ。
I mean, I like him. I think he's a pretty cool character to follow.
なんだ、バトラか。6年ぶり程度の客人など、懐かしいなどと呼びはせぬ。
Yeah, maybe longed for by like maybe a few family members, but that's it. After hearing Battler's name and making a disappointed and ill-humored expression, Kinzo turned his back again. Yeah, because everybody's been talking about like, oh, there's a special guest, another guest or whatever. And sure, you can think of it as Battler, but no, it's more specifically the witch herself.
金蔵さんにとっての6年など、この部屋で研究に没頭すればあっという間のことでしょうからな。
本当に懐かしい客は、あるいは訪れるかもしれん。すべてはルーレットの出目次第だ。
Which he may lose here.
すでにルーレットは回り始めている。ルージュか、ノワールか。今宵、ルーレットがどんな奇跡を見せてくれるのか楽しませてもらおうではないか。配当は大きいぞ。そして負ける気はせぬ。
No, we all lose though.
ベアトリーチェよ、我が賭けを受けるがいい。
At that time, the telephone on the table rang. The piercing sound seemed to irritate Kinzo, and he picked up the receiver to preserve the silence as much as he could.
何事か、私は忙しい。
現時でございます。親族の皆様方が到着なされました。
Oh ho, here we go.
だからどうしたというのだ。適当に茶でも出せばよい。
かしこまりました。そのようにいたします。
Yeah, Kinzo is not having any part of this. We already know that. Kinzo hung up the phone rudely. Looking at that, Nanjo sighed again and shifted his attention outside the window. As he is now, I doubt Kinzo would pay any heed to any sort of guest. Could any guest possibly make Kinzo come out when the time comes, as he said? Kinzo had a single person in mind, but that was a guest who certainly wouldn't appear. Nanjo stared at the witch of the portrait, with her impassive expression, unable to decide whether she was smiling or sad, and then gazed up at the lead-colored sky. I still think it is a nice painting because, yeah, there's different ways, there's different ways to look at it. You get a different, you know, a different feeling from it. Oh, whoa, what's going on here? Where are we? Oh, man. Damn, it sucks we gotta end the episode here. We gotta end the video here. Yeah, I'm out of time here, but... oh, man. I like how they're, I do like how they're approaching things here, because I guess similar but very much different to Higurashi. Yeah, we're going to be going through similar events, if not the same, but the setup is completely different. We're seeing a whole, different side to everything instead of rehashing what we already know, just because it's a very similar timeline of events. Oh, this is gonna be good. Damn, I'm already excited for the next recording. Shit. Well, yeah, that's all the time I've got. I'm hungry, so we will call it here. Thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz. This was a bit of a different one because we were kind of jumping around with all the characters, but again, I think very effective to see what else is going on and getting a glimpse at everybody else's lives to get a little bit more into them, Anyways, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.